We live. Welcome back, all you beautiful people, to the We Got Action podcast. Episode 54 coming at y'all.
We back.
We back, baby. We back. Took a little 2-week break. 4th of July.
Welcome back.
You know, we all got lives. So a couple weeks ago, 3 of us were doing stuff. So basically, can't really record a podcast with a one man. So, but we are back better than ever. Everyone's a little bit refreshed, rejuvenated. Had some fun the last couple weeks hanging out with friends, seeing everybody. So yeah, we're here, man. We're here. We're gonna be talking some NBA. Obviously the draft happened. MLB All Star game happened, so they're at the break. Game's actually on right now. Home Run Derby was last night. A lot of off-season NBA's been going on, so we're gonna kind of just touch on a few things there. Basically, we're gonna kind of give some of our teams and who we think has been best in the offseason so far to this point. Obviously, there's a lot longer time to go. But yeah, dude, I think we should just get into it. I'm excited. I've been waiting.
You claim to start on this one.
I did claim to start on this one because I feel like I have the team that has had the best offseason. So this is basically topic number one. We're running into it. We're just gonna have a team. I'm going with the Lakers, man. I know I feel like I'm always back in the Lakers every time we're on the pod, and I'm not ashamed about it because he is my king. I'm not gonna lie. LeBron's the GOAT, man. Soon to be the GOAT. But we're running with the Lakers. Obviously re-signing 3 key players to a pretty respectable run they had last year. Or I guess this year, but last season. They re-signed Austin Reeves, which I was very surprised about. I think he wanted to stay based on the fact that he took less money than he could have got from any team.
And it was quick too. It was quick.
Real
It wasn't something. It wasn't something that like dragged on.
7th, I think it was literally the day of.
Yeah, he never stayed. Offer sheet doesn't even.
Yeah, so he was ready to stay. They also re-signed Rui on the same day, and then the day after they re-signed D'Lo. So that was 3 key role players behind AD and LeBron that contributed quite a bit. But some of the bigger pieces that I really liked was getting Gabe Vincent from Miami.
Yes, sir.
Gabe Vincent to me is he's a winner. He's that chippy kind of player. I think he fits in similar to an Austin Reeves. He can check somebody full court, doesn't care to get down and dirty, really be take that team's number 1 guard and really make them work for some points. Knockdown shooter, can get a bucket, play make a little bit. I really like the Gabe Vincent pickup there. Taurean Prince, Cam Reddish, and Jackson Hayes, all pieces that I think are going to be solid bench players for them. And then got a pretty good draft pick. Jalen Hood-Schifino was their first round pick. I think they drafted 17th.
Yeah, 17th was their pick.
He's out of Indiana, and then Maxwell Lewis in the 2nd round, both signed rookie scale contracts there. Obviously, you still have LeBron James, you still have Anthony Davis. So I think it's a really, really good roster, man. I think it's something I'm impressed between obviously their trade deadline last year into their off season this year. Again, LeBron's only getting older, so we're gonna see how that actually happens. LeBron's getting older, AD's getting older, and we know them bones and joints have been not the most reliable. But So, but I don't know. I think to this point they had a pretty solid draft. They had an incredible first couple of days of the off season, and I think they set themselves up to at least for some success, to at least hopefully get a better seed than they did this past year and maybe make a deeper run.
And some extra home games and then playoffs.
Yeah. So we'll see.
All right, I like that. Typical, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Typical.
that's why I wanted to go first because I knew it was the cop-out answer, but I usually am supporting the Lakers and LeBron, so screw it. I'll keep riding.
Keep riding it. I'll go next. At least for me, it's Dallas Mavericks. Going into their off season, it looked a little bit bleak because you didn't know what they were really going to do with the bad contracts.
Yep.
But again, re-signing Kyrie was the key part in that, even though it was a headache, and they were, essentially they were bidding against themselves. According to 3 years, 120 million. Something like that.
Roughly.
No, 126. I'm sorry, because Fred VanVleet got 3 for 130. So yeah, Kyrie going back on a 3-year 126. They also do have an amount of games played within his contract as well for a small percentage of it. So, but again, they were bidding against they were incentivizing, but they were also bidding against themselves. So maybe an overpay, but they had to do it. But the fact that you're getting rid of Davis Bertans, Justin Holiday, and also Reggie Bullock, you're getting Grant Williams, which I think is a great move because you're getting someone who can play either a small ball 5 or a 4, can guard multiple positions and shoot the 3. So I think it'll be a huge loss for Boston. You got Rashawn Holmes, hasn't played much on Sacramento, but is an energy type guy, which is what Dallas needs. They need some athleticism there in the front court. Get back Seth Curry, who had one of his career years. In Dallas. I was a little confused on this one, Dante Exum, but I understand because he is a defensive-minded guard, see what he can give you. But then drafting Derek Lively, being able to get someone, a more athletic 7'2" big, paired with Luka. He plays around the rim. That's what you really need, and hopefully he can get you some offensive and defensive boards. But that is the team that I'm going with, that I believe that they won the offseason. They didn't go crazy with their cap space. They were able to clear something while also bringing in some young pieces. Yeah. So I think that's where
you have anything to go with that? Because I know
the Mavericks are my team
as well.
And a bigger, beyond just the moves they made, it was the planning.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of shorter term contracts that aren't going to rope them in long, for years and years. They got rid of Bertans' contract. They still have Hardaway and JaVale to play with as well, and some exceptions. So they definitely have room to navigate. But I thought their whole approach to the offseason was right. Like, they didn't end up getting Matisse Thybulle, but they did sign him to an offer sheet as well. Portland did match because they don't know what they're doing. So
that would have completed the offseason though for them. If they would have got him too, that would have been crazy.
Hitting threes for Portland. He was capable when he was over there.
But like at that point, you have Kyrie and Luka taking 50 shots. Like,
but it's just the point of it's the point of to respect him now, and that's huge, right? Just having to not be able to completely double off him or cheat too hard would have been huge. But I think their whole approach was right. It was, let's get rid of these bad contracts. Let's get guys who are fit what we lack. Get a center who, to me, is perfect for a high usage guy like Luka, who's just going to be rim running, offensive rebounds, dunks, layups around the rim. He's not going to demand the ball in the post or anything like that. So I think it's a perfect pairing with Luka, and I think he's the type of guy where Lively's the type of guy who's like high floor, high ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
If he stays what he is at this point, you still have a very capable NBA player.
Right, but there's so much room to grow.
Exactly.
As well.
And then I did like they did draft the Olivier Maxence Prosper. It's more of a project, but he's another super defensive guy. So they clearly went into it looking at, okay, it's not about the names, it's what can we fill out the holes in our roster.
Right.
And
you already have names.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job of that. Maybe, one more wing really that they could start at that 3 spot next to Luka, Kyrie, and Grant, and whoever's going to start at center. But they, to me, just, I don't know. They're a team that I think we were so down on them at the end of the year, and they did everything right so far.
Yeah.
Even if it, Portland matched. So I'm gonna just rebound because I know this one isn't taken, and I'm gonna say it's very low key, but I like the moves that the Bulls made. I thought if you're gonna go and run it back, right? If that's the option you decide to go with, they chose players who fit exactly what they need. I think they got 2 guys who play defense and can hit threes, and that's exactly the 2 biggest things we needed. My option, my first choice would be a deal DeMar and use that to make something happen. But
exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. If you chose the route of, hey, we're sticking with these guys and we're gonna run it back, then I think they made some of the best moves they could have, given the situation and the lack of cap and things like that.
Yeah.
Like Torrey Craig for 2 years, 5.4, and Javon's for what I think it's 3 years, like
20 million.
It's
3 years, 20.
19 and a half. Yeah, 19 and a half.
Yeah, some
player option. Like, they got really good value on both of these guys.
And they went short with it as well. I think that was the important piece, is like, they're stuck. Like, I mean, they were one of my teams as well that, I mean, they did what they could with the offseason, but they were stuck. Like, it's not like, unless we traded DeMar, unless we traded Zach, but we were not going to get anything of a good return, or at least of something what they were hoping. We just had to do it at least to see where we can go in the next 2 to 3 years, which is probably middle of the pack, but
That's what I liked was the moves were 2 and 3 years, which still gives you a year with Zoe if he ends up coming back and seeing
and
what he can
even
do.
the 3 years was with a player option. So if he outplays his contract, he can opt out.
Exactly.
And I think another thing too is just you look at the issue.
The signing too.
Yeah, I like the money. I don't think he got overpaid. And you saw some of the other contracts signed. Like, I mean, Fred for what, 40-something mil a year? Come on, man.
And it's so tough to find a
That's
guy that
robbery.
gets you consistently 18 and 10.
Yeah. And
Like, it's not what you wanted from him on his previous contract, but it's decent for what he's getting now.
Yeah, and it's one of the things. If you're like me and you play around with the trade machines a lot, the Bulls were not fun to play with the trade machines because you had 4 $20 million contracts and then no one making over 7 mil.
Yeah.
Now they got a couple guys scattered in there who are making different amounts. Kobe's going to be making like 12 a year or so,
between like 10 to 15.
So now we're seeing more tradable contracts that it gives us more flexibility to make deals in the future as well. So I do like the moves that they made, given that fact that they chose to stay the course.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, what you got, I feel like it's about to get hot right here. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. I was gonna go Phoenix, but Phoenix only got Eric Gordon. I ain't like nobody else. That's all. That's my issue. That's a big six. I like the six man pickup with Eric Gordon. Bradley Beal is already on his way. That still don't help the bench problem.
That's fair.
But to me, Cleveland though decided to go ahead and go trade for some shooting. So they brought in Max Strus. And I think to me they got the steal of the draft very, very late because this kid was coming up as a young prospect that was supposed to be low-key number 1, but he had some off-the-court issues.
Imani is balling right now.
Balling, and I'm loving the confidence he having in summer league that he's showing you, like, you shouldn't have let me slide this far. And for him to go to a team where he's coming off the bench, he got a 2-way contract, but I think it's going to turn into a real contract. But to come off the bench with a Karis LeVert, balling with a Max Strus, and got a guy like Darius Garden,
they got shooters, man.
They got shooters.
But also, too, Isaac Okoro coming off the bench, too, to help with that defense there.
They have a good balance.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And I'm loving that. And then they still got – and what's the great thing about that, they're in this spot where Boston lost a good couple key pieces. Miami lost, to me, a bunch of key pieces in a sense to just try – this is why the Dame trade not happening because they lost too many pieces, in my opinion. And then when you look at, the last team I think you can still think about in that Eastern Conference in a sense, we got Miami, Boston, and Philly, but Philly trying to trade James Harden. And I don't think Philly made any necessary important moves that's going to change the needle. But I'm watching a team like Cleveland add depth, something that a Denver team had, depth down the stretch. Right. But it's up to Darius Garland next season as they come in and play big. And the great thing about it, you want to trade Jared Allen. I think he's a hot commodity in a trade market like this because of what he can do and bring to your team. So, and I still think you're able to get more pieces if you trade Jared Allen. So I think they did a lot of great offseason moves, but to get Imani Bates in the second round and let him be growing to something with that team, I think it's going to be special.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's good for him. Go ahead, Dean.
Go.
I think it's good for Imani because he's not like being forced to just like he has room to grow now. Yeah.
You're saying he's not on the Rockets?
Yeah, basically he's not on the Rockets. He gets to learn behind a couple guys who have already done it. He gets to, basically grow more. Yeah. A team, right. And that's something that was kind of a knock on him, obviously, when he went to Memphis and then went to, Eastern Michigan?
Eastern, yeah.
So, he was just known as a chucker, and now he can kind of grow into a game and become more of a pure a player, man, like a true player.
Well, honestly,
he's even showing growth now. Yeah, he's even showing growth now, though.
Yeah,
because the first game everybody called him a shot chucker, and then he turned around and got like 23 on like 8 of 11 shooting from the field.
Yeah, efficient.
And
but I think too, it makes it easier though. I think to swallow that Max Strus contract if Imani Bates truly works out because.
Bro,
let's say,
out.
but that's what I'm saying, because let's say in at least like 2 years, the Cavs have an option to, okay, if we got to unload Max's contract because he's not living up to the 16 million, if we got to give a future first and we're still able to re-sign Imani to a full contract, full roster spot and all that, you got your replacement right there on the bench. You just got to let him build up some strength, some confidence, and be within the NBA system. They can get it. They'll probably have the seal of the draft, in my opinion. I believe that could turn out to be that way. So we'll end up having to see. But I like that choice, though. I like that choice.
That's a really good choice, actually.
I got an honorable mention too, though. Because I feel like they should be talked about. That's the Indiana Pacers, baby. To get Bruce Brown,
I was gonna say the same thing.
Toppin, and then they got Oscar Tshiebwe on a 2-way contract, brother. I take it. You got rebounder, but you put pieces around Tyree. Is it Tyree or Tyrese?
Tyrese.
There we go. Hallie's good.
Tyrese. Yeah, Hallie's good. So we'll stick with Hallie. So Hallie got guys where I think Hallie assist numbers gonna go up crazy next season.
Yeah.
He gonna get to the cup live. You gonna get to the cup drop because you got Bruce Brown almost at every spot, every point of the game. You still
it's gonna be an exciting team.
Still got Miles Turner. You got Jarris Walker, who could also be something big for them, but he don't even have to do nothing special but play defense and be a big man.
Yeah, they're gonna be a sleeper team, man.
Well, and I don't know if you guys have been keeping up. They've been hot in the rumor mill for Pascal lately.
Dudes,
they keep trying to make some moves.
Yeah,
they're
trying
one of the only teams that can afford to extend him without going dust on.
But he wants to win, though, right? Doesn't he?
But my issue,
I think they have the opportunity to.
The talk has been that he isn't really willing to commit to signing anywhere when he's traded. There's talk saying that he would like to go back to Toronto after this or that, but the recent reports are saying that Toronto doesn't want to extend him, pay him a max extension.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to pay him a max extension, you're definitely not going to pay him a max free agent contract that's even more expensive. So yeah, I think I think that revelation might change things a little bit. It seems like it's between the Hawks and Pacers right now in that trade.
Hawks would be crazy too.
So it'd be really interesting to see.
I just think too, I think with him, it's just that he wants to go into a competitive market. I think that's just, even though he doesn't say it, he seems like he does. It's like he's the type of player that doesn't really care where he plays market wise. I think that is like, obviously we see it with players every year, or even later in their career, if they're great NBA players, is that they want to go into that a certain market. I think that's where he is, but he just doesn't want to come out and say it at that point.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But Indiana's going to be crazy good this year. As a Bulls fan, I'm kind of scared to play them.
Well, it was already terrifying enough to play them. They had our number.
They did.
It's kind of the one time where we did well against them, Hallie went for like 42 on like 8 threes or something crazy.
Yeah, that's because Pat Bev was talking trash. So
yeah,
talking too much.
Okay, now he's gonna do Javon instead.
There you go. But yeah, we those are some good picks though. What do we got next though?
So I wanted to talk about kind of, as you guys were talking about Imani Bates in the summer league, I wanted to see, is there any other standouts or maybe some guys you're skeptical about? I mean, if we want to just cover first off, Victor Wembanyama, he's played 2 games, had 2 very different games. And I think it kind of scary. It's scary to me that he had one game where he looked lost, and then it seemed like on the drop of a dime he figured out everything and then torched everybody. So if he's learning that quickly already, that's something to be scared of if he learns the NBA game that fast, because he definitely has all the tools to be unstoppable, to say the least. But do you guys have anyone that is again either stood out or is a little disappointing to this point?
I mean, in terms of
stood out in some.
You
go.
I went first last time, so if I get stolen, that's fine.
I have to shout out Jabari.
Okay,
Jabari has been
that boy been lights out.
Everything advertised when we were leading up to the draft.
Right. This is what we was expecting last year.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not to this 35.5 points.
I don't know.
But this is, he's looking like every bit of a top, 2-3 pick. He is looking like he is the future there in Houston. Like, he's a true piece you can build around.
I liked his mindset too when they asked him, should you be playing these games? And he's like, I did not live up to what the hype that I was supposed to last year. Like
that's a culture shift of Ime Udoka.
He's here to grow. He's here to become a staple in that lineup. And I think, like you said, Ime Udoka is going to find ways to get him open, get him looks. He's tall. He can rebound. He can defend. Like he might be a problem, honestly.
I mean, 7 rebounds and 4 assists, along with he's averaging 13.5 free throw attempts a game in 2 games so far. Like,
Hey, Tari Eason as well has been them two.
He was my steal in the draft last year.
I know you were big on him last year. We talked about him a lot as one of the rookie of the years.
Sleepers.
But sleeper. There you go. But that's a good pick though. I like that. Okay, what you got?
I got Michael DeVoe from Portland, baby. The boy's shooting a cover off the basketball. And it's going to be sad. You know, Dame ain't going to beat up, but the way he's shooting the basketball in Las Vegas right now, it looks so beautiful. I think he needs to be on somebody else's roster besides Portland because I think he can make some real damage for some contending teams from the 3-point line. And he had a high usage rate for this Portland squad. So I think he could do a little bit more for him too. But that man's playing so well in Summer League right now. That's somebody I think who should have been signed again. Clippers let him go.
Yeah, Clippers let him go. I was surprised because I was looking at him. I was like, I feel like I've seen him before, and he was on the Clippers G League team.
Too solid to be let go like that. And then another thing, a lot of what I found out about the draft was this though. A lot of the guys who was dominant last year in the college all went undrafted. Damn near.
Yeah, because
that's typically how it is.
Yeah, the NBA they draft for potential and not for where you're at right now. They don't care who you are; they care who you could be.
But I do think Brooklyn could get a steal though for taking basically the college player, damn near the college player of the year. He's not. He's not a 4. I don't know why. Where do we get this 4? Yeah, he's 6'9", but Jalen Wilson is not a 4. He's a 2-3 that can go inside and out for you and could put the ball in the cup better than most of these people in the summer league. So I'm thinking, like, how the hell did Brooklyn get just luck up with this? And Drew Timme in Milwaukee is something to watch to me. Like, those are some undrafted guys I'm looking at. Like, you can make some noise.
I'll even go with honorable mention for me is Marquise Noel, from Kansas State. Noel, he's on Toronto's summer league as well. He's on a 2-way contract, and he's gonna probably end up getting he's gonna end up getting a full rated contract probably within the middle of the season. I wouldn't be surprised with the way he's going.
Yep. But his feel and vision, his feel for the game, his vision on the court, his ability to consistently knock down shots.
I think it's a Fred VanVleet 2.0, but better.
Some of the passes he finds, like he sees, I'm like, bro, I'm looking like when I'm watching the game, I'm looking at like somewhere else on the court, and then that ball just goes across. I'm like,
he's open, and then he whips one across the other way.
And so is he. It's so crazy.
But at least for mine though, my definite ones, honorable mention, I'm going Keegan Murray, another second-year player, just flat out dominating. It doesn't need to play.
I was gonna say he's not supposed to be in something.
No. But that's the thing though. That's the thing is that he's a second-year player, similar to Jabari, but he's just flat out dominating these guys. That's what you want to see. So he's supposed to.
The Warriors 25.
Oh, I know. He's supposed to. That's where I'm going with it. Yeah, that's where he's supposed to.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, he's supposed to.
Yeah, you're right.
doing.
But I'm going with the Golden State Warriors, Lester Quinones. I'm going with him.
Both of mine.
I'm going with him. He had a 26-point night on Monday, and then he had a 21 on Wednesday from last week as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so his game. They may have found the Jordan Poole replacement, obviously way cheaper in my opinion. I think that's what they found. And then my other one, I'm gonna go with Casey Wallace of OKC as well.
That's fair, yeah.
Because
I thought he was gonna be trash.
Yeah, I think it's so where you can actually truly shift Shea off the ball, and he doesn't have to. And obviously they got Trey Mann as well, and Trey Mann's been balling out along with him in the summer league. But again, another player that's trying to prove himself and actually get more rotational minutes. I think that he's a very underrated player at the point guard position, even shooting guard. Yeah, they got a lot of guards, but those are my main players too. Those are my main ones that have been surprising me as standouts. I really don't have no disappointments.
I'll go with one then, since you took both of my two of my favorite standouts so far. But I'm thinking I've got mixed emotions so far about the number 2 overall pick, Brandon Miller, in my opinion. I haven't seen enough consistent shooting for somebody who was supposed to be a sniper from three. I mean, the rebounding is there because he's got the length and the size.
Yeah.
The playmaking is decent. But again, the defense for me is what's really, really disappointing.
That's being scary right now.
Especially when you're on Charlotte.
Yeah.
Trash.
Trash at defense. They already fucking guard a brick wall, and now he's attacking brick walls.
Bro,
we did say it.
But
we did say it's Scoot Henderson.
You gotta be
Charlotte messed up.
But at some point though, you got 15 fouls in 2 games.
Yes.
15 fouls in 2 games, bro. You basically fouled out of 2 and sit on the bench in a third right now. So like in the first half. So like, bro, you bogus to me. And I feel like you bogus, bro. Like we picked you with the number 2 draft pick. You would have turned out to be a bust. I feel like the Thompson twins. One of them, the one that playing for Detroit might be better than the one that went to the Rockets.
The one I like the one.
Asar,
yeah, rolled his ankle. He was having a pretty strong leg.
Yeah,
he had 4 blocks in that game.
He was looking like a good piece. Scoot was pretty good too in his first minutes.
They were playing against each other and both left.
But yeah, I don't know. Brandon Miller, if you're not going to play defense, that shot's got to be falling consistently.
I mean, I think too. From watching a little more so of the highlights of the Charlotte game and what he's really been doing, I don't think he's really been put in a position to be successful in Summer League. I think it's just been more so of like it's kind of throwing him to the fire, see what he can really do. But I just don't think it was to where he was successful or in a position to be successful. Unlike a lot of these other guys, they're actually being able to play to their game. Maybe they're trying to point him to more so playing off the ball a bit to see how he can contend with that. Okay. But it's not looking good though for Charlotte right now, unfortunately, with that number 2 pick with him. So
they got a steal though, Miles Bridges for $8 million on that qualifying offer.
Really?
Yeah. That was a real steal.
It's a hell of a steal.
But they still got a lot of free agents though. They still got Kelly Oubre is a free agent. PJ Washington is also a free agent as well, and he was part of that front court. So we got to see what they're going to do with them. But it'll be interesting.
I honestly think the free agent market spiked when what's his face signed that $100 deal at 4 years. I forgot who. Cam
Grant
Johnson. No, Cam. Cam signed his Brooklyn.
Jeremy Grant signing 5/160 or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, when Jeremy Grant and Cam Johnson signed those deals. Yes, Cam Johnson's numbers went up in Brooklyn. I'm expecting a big year, but to pay him that much, it's a lot because PJ Washington.
Brooklyn can risk that though. That's the thing. Brooklyn can risk it right now.
Right now, but if they want to build a contender.
Yeah, but when you're looking at PJ Washington, Christian Wood, all these other guys who got the same numbers as these 2 guys, they looking for more money. And they probably not get more money. Yeah. Like at all. They don't deserve it, but they looking for it now because they're like, shit, I have the same numbers as Cam.
And Oubre and Wood both have reputations as not winning players. Those guys that can get their numbers, but don't actually contribute too much to your team wins. PJ, I think, is an interesting one because I think a lot of teams are probably looking at him. He does a lot of everything. He's not like spectacular at any single one thing, but he does, he's got a lot of different facets to his game. He can shoot. He's athletic. He can drive. He's a solid enough off-ball defender. He's okay on ball. A little bit undersized for a big, but the athleticism makes up for it. So I expect him to be one of those guys that signs kind of like a prove it deal with a better team. And then ends up signing big in the next offseason. But another player that I wanted to highlight because they were so bad last year that them just being decent in the summer league is impressive, is Johnny Juzang.
I love him, man. He was one of my favorite players in college.
Yeah. He wasn't great in his first year, and then neither Johnny.
He's not in Utah, right?
Yeah.
Is he still there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And Davis too. Like these guys who came from college and were abysmal, whether it be in the NBA or playing for G League teams and something like that.
Juzang got into the NBA later in the season, but he wasn't phenomenal.
Yeah, and this is a guy that everybody really loved, right? Like especially after his run with UCLA.
Yeah.
But he's playing really well right now. And one player to watch that I really liked the signing for the summer league, and I would like to see him stick with this team is Drew Peterson from USC.
Okay.
He's signed with the Heat for the summer league. He's on an Exhibit 10 contract, which it's one of those where I think it can turn. They have at a certain point they can guarantee it, and it turns into a two-way contract. But he's a guy that like, so he's from Libertyville here. My sister actually went to school with him, knows him personally, so she was always following the games. And so I ended up catching a lot of the games, and he's one of those guys. He's a tweener. He used to be a guard, kind of grew out of it, playing the forward. I think he could fit that Heat mold, you know, have a guy who comes off the bench, a little bit older. I think he was either a senior or a junior his last year. So he, you know, he has that college experience. He fits that Miami Heat, you know, undrafted free agent mold. Does a little bit of everything too. Kind of a higher IQ player. So it'd be interesting to see if he can stick with them, because I think that was the perfect landing spot, and he'd be an interesting guy to kind of watch there.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's been a lot of people who have been standouts and stuff like that so far. So it'll be interesting to see how the rotations play out and which players actually like make an impact. But a lot of the players that we name, and even the disappointments that you name, we're probably going to be hearing a lot of them, or at least seeing a lot of them in season.
Add Jay Ivey ass to that list too.
Yeah.
What? Disappointing?
Yeah. I feel like he's supposed to be one of them guys like a Keegan. Yeah, he was okay in the season, but I feel like as a guy like a Keegan and all of them that's coming back and dominating, I'm expecting.
Oh, I see.
Almost the same. I'm expecting that for Jay Ivey as well. Not getting outplayed by Anthony Black.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, we'll just have to see though when the season comes, when it obviously starts. I think obviously they'll turn it up and stuff like that. And obviously a lot of the summer league too, some teams are probably just looking like, hey, we're going to just feed you the ball, see what you can do with it, be dominant, etc. That's really all it is. I'm not really too worried about them. Once they get to the season locked in, I think Monty will have him locked in, especially as well.
Yeah, so. And summer league's always one of those things where like guys who don't shoot are out there chucking. Like you got a guy like Dalen Terry, who for the Bulls would figure to be a, you know, off the bench, secondary playmaker, defense, energy guy, take a couple shots in the corner. He's out here throwing up 15, 20 shots a game. Like he's never going to do that for the next.
Blame Demar. Blame Demar. You heard what he said. I've been working out with Demar on my jump shot. Blame Demar.
Hey, now you got to try out.
We can get a cheap Demar.
When you're you got a hitch in your shot and you're not a great offensive player, go out there, chuck it, and then
hey, Pat's been working hard too.
Yeah,
bro, he better develop the Bruce Brown method.
Yeah. What we got next, man? So we finished our NBA here to give you guys some of our little summer league standouts, disappointments, along with teams for the productive offseason. But obviously, we're at the midway point for Major League Baseball. All Star game is currently happening right now.
1-1 after 5.
Ooh, okay. And then Home Run Derby was last night, so on July 10th. Obviously,
dude, I was kind of going crazy during some of those rounds.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, so C's, I'll let you lead it out. You had the topic here ready for us. So what you got for us?
Yeah, I wanted to. So first, we can just talk about some of the All Star game selections, and then I also had to pose a question because I got annoyed by the fact that like half of the guys that got selected for the All Star game didn't fucking play.
Yeah,
it's just so annoying to me, and I feel like happens every year. Which at that point kind of feels like not a coincidence anymore.
Yeah,
like it feels starting to feel like a coincidence. I mean, is what I'm trying to say.
The chosen not to play part's the funny.
Bro, come on, bro.
We're looking at the list of players here, and there's a little. It says asterisk denotes a player who was injured or chose not to play, and it's like, come on, man. Like, get in there, swing a bat once, and then get subbed out at least.
But either way, I just was going through some of the selections, and if you guys had anyone that shouldn't have made it. I mean, I thought I was pretty impressed with the fact that Texas had 5 guys, I think, 4 that started. Eovaldi, I think, just pitched like the second inning for the AL, which was he could have also been a starter over Garrett Cole. It was between the two of them. But you know, it was Jonah Heim. They had they almost had the whole infield.
Yeah. Because
Yandy Diaz from Tampa Bay took over first base. But I don't know. I was just curious if you guys had any thoughts.
They've been on a heater. It's
that
just
was my opinion.
It feels like sometimes you see a lot of these same guys, and with every team getting an all-star, it does kind of make it a little less meaningful with some of these guys.
That's true. That's a good point.
I just think a lot of it though is I think what you see with the MLB, even though the players are not, marketed better than what the league should do for them compared to like leagues like the NBA or like the NFL and stuff like that. You have the people who go to their common names, but then you always have those players, especially in the smaller markets that nobody knows about, that are having MVP type seasons, but are not getting recognized simply for an all-star game. But they'll get recognized as part of the MVP consideration because baseball actually sees them as that, whereas the everyday or even the casual fan doesn't even know really anything about them. Like one player that I could probably say for sure is either two players from the Rays, again, small market, barely spend any money, but Isaac Paredes, he is sporting an 867 OPS, 14 homers, and 53 RBIs, was not even on the All-Star team. And then also his teammate as well at shortstop, Wander Franco. Now he may not be having like a sensational season offensive wise, but he is probably one of the, if not the best shortstop in the game right now defensively. So
he
again, for
as a reserve, but
he makes it as a reserve. But the problem was Seager's having the season of his career, and Bo Bichette's Mr. Consistent offensively.
But the thing is that there's just too many players at the same positions. That's the hard part. Yeah. That's the thing. That'd be the hard part, because unless if you go NBA style and again, they're not going to do this, but hypothetically, abolish AL and NL for the All-Star game and just mix them all together, then it's possible that more of the best players. That would be.
But the thing is that they have the whole like freaking the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I understand because it actually means something. But if they were to do something like that, and maybe more of those players. Maybe more of the players would actually get in that we want to see, but it's just not going to happen that way. You have too many good players at the same position. You got to. It's a sacrifice each year, and we always find different players every year.
Just when they're starting to like slim pick guys that are having like there's so many guys that were sitting out that they're slim picking, like friggin' Corbin Burns, who's having like one of the worst seasons of his career.
Brent Rooker's in
there. Just because the A's need a player.
Yeah, Senga's. I mean, I don't think Senga should be in there.
Hell no. You've seen his away numbers?
Even his own numbers haven't been great lately.
I don't know. That was just the one thing I had. I do like what you're saying though, Dan. 100%.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of guys that did get in there, but I do agree. Baseball's just got so much talent.
Yeah.
Especially on a lot of those teams that are the top teams in the league. You could go ahead and just start the Braves versus the Rangers, and I'd have been like, cool, bro. Yeah, they all deserve it, honestly.
And the important part about that, though, is that you have, I think, a lot more so with baseball, is that you have a lot more one-year wonders. We've kind of seen that all throughout, is that you have a lot more one-year wonders who they make the All-Star game and then they disappear off the face of the earth. Whereas they should have been replaced probably by some of a more established talent, or even a younger player that's having a better year. But they're just having.
You see a lot in basketball. Like maybe somebody's not having a good year, but they're the big brand player, one of the biggest players in the league, and he's just going to get a nod because
in baseball there's not really many players who are bigger.
Like Mike Trout is one I would say who gets he's having a down year to Mike Trout standards, and yet was voted an all-star starter actually.
Yeah, in baseball, I feel like the athlete doesn't transcend the sport as much as other sports.
Right.
Like in basketball, you look at a guy like LeBron and Kobe, and obviously we're talking.
You look at 20 all-star games.
Even a guy like Dame, I think has a better reputation than a lot of the best players in baseball. Right. You take away like Shohei, because he's just a freak and possibly the greatest player of all time.
He is.
Yeah. And how many guys get the same level of like notoriety that even a guy like Dame would? Right.
Yeah.
And that's
NBA small market is way different than MLB small market.
Well, it's bigger, It's bigger than a lot of the MLB big markets. Like LA, New York aside, you're not really getting much talk.
Right.
Yeah. But that's just what it is, unfortunately. So
I do still think personally that it's the best all-star game that we have.
100%.
Again, there's something that's actually on the line, and it's also a lot easier to make baseball competitive than it is to make.
Yeah, but a game where you're flying around with your bodies is
it's tough to make football. Hockey,
football, that football
games that are
all-star game.
They need to get rid of that shit.
That Pro Bowl needs to go, man.
Get rid of it.
But another thing I liked was obviously the home run derby, and that with the MLB All Star game, in my opinion, in our opinions, being the best all-star game amongst sports. We also have the home run
Yes.
derby, which in my opinion, quite possibly could be the most exciting and entertaining all-star weekend competition in all of
Mhm.
sports. I mean, some of the other ones got like the throwing
contest is
three-point
good.
contest is pretty good, but
There's
I don't know, dude. There's something about watching a dude hit like 5, 6, 450-foot bombs in a row, and I'm off my couch screaming.
It's the way
But I
to
was-
Dude, when Abby turned around to right hand and just popped fucking 7 or 8, 400 plus, I was
Yeah.
losing my mind.
But see, when you just said like it's the better thing, like the best, probably like all-star, what you want to say, all-star activity,
Competitions
Yeah.
in general.
competition. But the thing that separates the MLB with that home run derby compared to everybody else is that they actually go out there to put on a motherfucking show.
Yeah,
to
like
me.
they're trying to
okay,
they're
like
Yeah.
they trying to beat each other. Like
Yeah.
Julio said, like, "Hey Pete, you got to catch me,
Bro,
seriously. I want you to catch me."
when he finished hitting 41, turned around, just slammed his bat down on the ground and was like screaming at
I
the
was
crowd. I was like, yo, that
I
should
was like,
mean
okay.
something.
I'm like, I can't even get nobody to do the motherfucking skills challenge competitive.
Yeah,
Like,
literally. And that used to be kind of competitive.
Yeah, now you got bigs in
You know
there
what I'm saying? We used
clunking
to have
around.
Derrick Rose running around and guys that actually now it's
Around.
just bench
You got, like,
players
CP,
and the
Trajason going against
Antetokounmpo
the-
brothers. It's
See,
bench
that's the
players,
thing.
rookies, and Giannis and his brothers.
That's the thing though too. Isn't it crazy how the MLB or NBA is so marketed? They do the right things with marketing their players, right? But nobody cares in the All-Star any of the All-Star competition, maybe
Yeah.
except for more so a little bit of the three-point contest.
Yeah.
But you have a league in the MLB that barely does any good job of marketing their superstar players, and yet they care more.
Yeah. And I mean, the MLB too is at a
That is
loss.
actually- that's
Their
interesting.
all-star stuff is during the week, which
That's true.
inherently is going to be worse for ratings and things like that. Like having a
Right, bro. I guarantee you there was pretty good ratings on that home run derby.
I also,
I guarantee you that if it was on a Friday or Saturday, they'd
Oh, if
be
it was on
doubled.
a Saturday, it'd be insane.
They'd be doubled just for the same one. Like
Yeah.
it's just, and that's again the
and
marketing.
That's another thing. And that's another thing too. At least the stars actually want to compete in the home run derby to me.
That's the most
Like,
important
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Like
right.
we got an interview. We interview Juan Soto. Juan Soto, like, I want to be back in it. Like,
Yeah.
but we got guys like even with Jalen Green was in a dunk contest. He was just on Paul George podcast talking about something like that was too much on my legs. And I'm like, bro, these baseball players play like 144 games and still have the audacity to come put a motherfucking show and still be batting the way they need to be batting down the stretch. You better figure it out. Like, I don't know what to tell you because
And the
you
thing is
missing out-
too. Go ahead. Yeah, my fault. Go ahead. My fault.
we missing out on like the great times that we could be having. Like we didn't get a chance to see like Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, and all them actually put on a show for us. We don't get that. I can't even get Dame and none of them to barely do the 3-point contest. Like that's the stars we get.
He won it.
Like,
He won it this past year. He done now.
And
Yeah,
then
like,
the thing is too,
contest.
in regards to that, MLB players, if we think about it, the NBA players with their competitions really, we can say definitively are not really up for risk of injury or even risk of ruining their own rhythm. Whereas MLB players, you're going into the home run derby, you're just trying to hit bombs and your swing can be messed up 20, 30 games going into the second half, and then you might cost your team some games.
Just talk to
You know what I
Luis
mean?
Robert, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Talk to our
I feel
socks
like
guy.
because we're all Luis did actually strain his calf in the home run
Yeah.
derby. And I was actually gonna put that in the group chat yesterday. I was like, he better not swing any harder than he is right now because he will hurt himself. But I was gonna say, yeah, hey, it is what it is. I was gonna say I'm just waiting. Like it's interesting. We get like Vlad Guerrero and Pete Alonso. Like these are some of the best and farthest home run hitting guys, and yet we can't get a LeBron versus Zion type dunk contest. You know what I mean? Or Ja Morant
Hype wise, yeah.
versus
Just get
whoever.
Zion fat ass in the dunk contest.
At this
Sorry, that was
point, he can't do anything
That
else.
was me. But yeah, he need to do something, bro.
Like I want
I'm not
dunkers
gonna
in
lie.
the dunk contest.
Hey, I want to see
You know
him.
what I'm saying?
I want to
want-
see Zion.
I don't
want to
see no
Like
G
we got
niggas.
home run hitters in the home run derby. Can I get some dunkers in the dunk contest?
Mhm.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. They better
they
better
pull
adopt
people
the
up from
rule
the
like
G
2K
League.
guy.
Facts.
Yeah,
That's
but
ignorant to me though.
MLB's, I mean, even we can say the same thing as well. I mean, I'll even put hockey as a close second.
Hockey's
Oh,
probably is a close
because
Close
either
second.
way, like, I mean, obviously they do what they can. Again, the marketability is not there, but it's the players. They gotta go all out. Like they're not playing for anything like the MLB for World Series home field advantage or anything like that. But you see the different type of intensity that the MLB has and the NHL versus the NBA.
I'll be honest, I do think they should possibly get rid of that home field advantage thing.
I do
Seems a little
too.
sussy.
Yeah, especially when
Seems a little sussy when you got a 110 win team versus like a 90 win team, and the 90
But
win
I
team
think
got home field
though
advantage.
that's
they're automatic
Because
representative.
they had one player in that
if the MLB though ever gets rid of AL versus
Yeah, it's
NL, I
gone.
think that'll be the downfall. That'll be the downfall because players are not going to find it as important because you got literally the best player, majority of the best players on the best teams there. They're going to think that they got a chance in the World Series to get home
It's a
field.
bit
Yeah,
sussy.
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
a bit sussy.
It
You're
is,
telling
but-
me that the Rays win 100 and something games, and maybe they're not. They play the Phillies, and maybe.
But they still haven't won anything yet, though.
I'm just saying.
I get what you mean.
One,
I get what you mean.
it's a bit interesting.
Yeah,
It's
and
a bit
home field advantage in baseball is
But
very
yeah.
real too.
Right. Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Especially when you're pitching, trying to play.
Yeah.
You're trying
Well,
to
I
throw
mean,
a strike.
We talked
You
about
got
Kodai,
6,000.
but even a guy like Zach Gallen, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year, at home he is the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah,
And then away he's good.
he's good,
But like his numbers are
but he's not
nowhere
what he is
near.
at-
Yeah.
he's not top tier. Yeah, it's definitely a big thing. But I don't know. Again, Danny, you make a great point. If they got rid of that incentive for these guys, it makes it really tough.
The pitching.
Mhm.
And that was the NBA's downfall too. We used to do better than the NBA.
Yeah, that was their downfall. As soon as they abolished that West versus East,
Best pitcher in baseball since May 20 something.
Yeah, I saw
Whatever.
that first in like everything since May 25th.
Anyways, yeah, shout out Blake Snell for getting a Dylan Cease type snub this year.
Yeah.
Did not best pitcher in baseball since like
Late
2.5
May,
months
yeah.
ago. First
not
in
even
like
sniffed.
10 key stats, and he's not even in the freaking. Anyways, I got one good thing. Danny, this should give you a pretty decent segment. We can make a good video out of this, but I wanted to get to. Me and Dave were talking about this at when we had our dinner on Sunday. But I wanted each of us to kind of go through top 5 current players right now, not including, of course, Shohei Ohtani.
Are we talking form?
I want your top 5 current players. You can choose, you can do it how you want. You can do it how you want.
yeah. I mean, I'm ready.
If you want to
I'm
take
ready.
longevity into it, consistency.
I'm ready.
Obviously, I feel like one of you are going to throw an Ellie De La Cruz in there. 25 games. What does that mean to you? You know what I'm saying? So that's just it's
I'm
up to
ready.
you. It's your list.
I'm
is your
ready.
list. So,
I'm locked and loaded.
again, everybody's list is starting with Ohtani. So the
Yeah.
next 5 after that.
Yeah. So technically our little top 6, but really top 5.
Yeah, Ohtani
top
is-
5 after. But
Undisputed. I'm sorry.
I'll go first. I mean, my obviously number 1, Shohei Ohtani, one of the greatest to ever touch the field. Secondary number 1, I'm gonna go with Acuna Jr. That's my
That's
guy.
fair. Yeah.
Coming back from the ACL, he's been on a tear this second year, fully recovered. Showing you he's one of the
MVP.
he's one of
frontrunner.
one of the best right fielders in the game. 331 average, 21 homers, 55 RBI so far. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yep.
Second, I'm going to go with Mookie Betts. I think this year,
I like that.
obviously it hasn't shown a lot towards the 300 average that we're used to seeing, but his versatility is being on full display with the Dodgers team that absolutely
Great.
needs it. And he's showing that he
he's
does not
playing
lose a
5
step.
positions.
Yeah, does not lose a step in
positions.
any position. And his stats speak for themselves. Number 3, I'm going to go with Fernando Tatis Jr.
Wow, that's high.
I'm gonna go with him. Again, it's a smaller sample size because he was suspended earlier in the season for his PED use, but
That's painful, Danny.
he's electric. He can play the game. Hey, he's electric. That's what I gotta say
I'll
up there.
take it.
Potential
I think he's the
Right.
Padres' best player this season so far, but maybe behind Blake
Agreed.
Snell. But
Yeah.
If he well, at least batting order wise, if he wasn't there and he was suspended longer, I think the record would be way worse.
The
And I
way,
think
the
we
way
all can
Manny's
agree with
hitting
that.
against righties.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think he's-
Number 4, I'm going to go with Yordan Alvarez. Even though he's been injured 55 games this year, he is at 55 games this year. He's at 17 homers and 55 RBIs.
Bro, he'd be at Ohtani numbers, I think.
That dude's a monster. It's still young, still mid-20s as well, so he's still got a lot of room to be a monster.
I think he's, in my opinion, possibly the next best hitter behind Ohtani.
I would not
pure
be
hitter, pure power hitter.
Yeah. And
but he's
then,
more than just that.
Yeah.
Last one for me, kind of, I would say he may not be underrated to you guys, but a little bit underrated to me as far as name wise. I'm going to go Matt Olson. He had to fill in huge shoes. He had to fill in huge shoes for Freddie Freeman. Last year was a little bit of a more acclimation type season for him, but this year, this is what they were expecting to get from him initially, and he's showing that. And then my honorable mention, because he got the jersey on, Luis Robert. I'm gonna go with him at number 7.
It is what it is. This is a Tim Anderson jersey, but
just because he had the Sox jersey.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna wear the Luis jersey, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I do like that.
That's my top 5 right there.
I think he's pushing best center fielder in baseball. Luis Robert. Just saying.
Preach.
Does anyone else want to go? I'm itching to go, but I'll let somebody else go.
You go.
Let's go.
You're
Okay. Shohei Ohtani, number 1, undisputed. Ronald Acuna, I think that also might be undisputed at this point between the 4 of us.
Yeah.
I think he is probably the next best player behind Ohtani, and if Ohtani didn't pitch, I think Acuna would be the best player. But Ohtani obviously has that. My number 2, I guess, in this case would be Freddie Freeman. I think he's Mr. Consistent. I actually think he's gotten better since he came to the Dodgers. The numbers say that. I mean, he's got goal. He's a Gold Glover. He hits 320. He hits for power now, apparently, these last end of the weeks going into the All Star break. I think he leads the league. If not, he's second place in total bases. So on base percentages there. One of the greatest eyes in the game at this point.
He has not had an OPS under 841 since 2013.
So I don't know. That's me. I think Freddie.
I respect it.
My number 3 is Mookie Betts. I think they got a 1-2 punch that is unrivaled in baseball. I did go a little bit interesting. I wanted to throw something in there. I went Luis Ariz, number 4. I think Louis is kind of what you had as Matt Olson. I think Louis is one of the most disrespected players in the game. And now that he is almost hitting it took him almost to hit 400.
Yeah.
To finally be on the 4.
Get the respect. Yeah.
Realistically, when you look at the seasons, like his stats are ridiculous.
His worst hitting year is 294.
And that was one of his first years.
That was his 3rd year. He had 334, 321, 294, 316, and now he's at 387.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's got more doubles in his career than he has strikeouts.
I think so.
It was some stupid stat like that. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous that you have to hit 400 to finally be recognized. But I think he is integral. And then we look at the fact that the Marlins have like 54 wins, I think, at the break.
Very surprising team so far.
And again,
happy for them as well.
Dude, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Between a couple of the young prospects, Braxton Garrett, Yuri Perez, Sandy's had a down year, but if he can kind of right the ship, that's a 1-2-3 punch. That's
he's elite.
So tough to beat, man.
Except for the first inning.
Hey, nerfy lock. But yeah, and then that lineup's cracked too. I just think, and he's the starter. He's the fire starter, man. He's the lead off. He's the guy.
Yeah, when your number 1 can actually get on base
every time. And yet, but the crazy thing is, if you get on for him, he'll also drive you in.
Yeah,
exactly.
So he does a lot that I think a lot of people don't recognize. I actually have a tie for 5. I didn't want to pick one because I think I have them both there for similar reasons. I have Yordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge. I think that when those two guys are healthy and in their team's lineups, the impact that they have on their ball clubs winning is just second to none. I mean, second to Ohtani. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you could take Acuna out of that lineup. That lineup's still crazy.
Yeah, like they're not going to be at 60. They're not going to be at 60 wins right now, but they're definitely
like the reason I have Freddie and Mookie is because take one of those guys out, that lineup it does fall.
Yeah.
You know, and you see it with Judge and Yordan. Like when Yordan's not there, the Astros have not been the same. No. And obviously we know the Yankees without Aaron Judge have just been abysmal. They can't
Boo-boo.
score. They can't hit home runs. They can't do anything. So
No.
I think those two guys, by not playing games, to me, have shown just how important and how impactful they are to winning and how good they are. I also think they're two of the best power hitters in the game. Jordan, to me, is one of the best pure hitters in the game, not just power, but just
Can hit everywhere.
timely hitting, timely slugging, like he's a big clutch hitter as well. He does a lot. He's incredible. I almost put him outright, but I think Aaron was in a similar boat with just how good he is for the Yankees. And that rounds out. I'll do, I guess, an honorable mention for me would probably be like Bo Bichette.
Okay. I like that.
Honorable mention.
Hi, what you got, brother?
All right, brother. So obviously we got one with Ohtani. I'm actually gonna put Luis Arias at 2.
Oh,
My man,
give me that. I like it.
I like it because for somebody to me to be batting almost damn near 400, almost the entire first half of the season so far, I like that. And I'll take it. Even though I do still think Ronald Acuna Jr. for the win MVP, because I want him to win MVP. I have him at 3.
Hey, Arias, I think Arias is gonna push him though.
With how their team is going right now?
With how they play, yes. 4.
The 148 difference in their run differentials might make a case, but
4. I'm gonna go Bo Bichette.
Nice.
Second in hits. He's still batting above 300. I got him at 4. And then 5. 5. I might do Yandy. I'm gonna do Yandy Diaz.
Okay. Leaving out the Dodger boys. Crazy.
I don't like none of the Dodger boys.
Hey, I don't like him either.
I
but
like
Freddie's crazy.
I got Freddie. I got Freddie
honorable
honorable mention, and that's just because I just don't like the Dodgers. But I got him honorable mention.
Fair.
Though.
That's fair. I like that. Yandy has been very, very incredible this year. He has been, because Randy started incredible. He's kind of fizzled a little bit, right? And he was over 300 for a couple months.
Yeah, he's at like 320.
Wander hasn't been phenomenal.
Mhm.
So Yandy's really, really helped. And then Danny also had Isaac Paredes was also really incredible for them.
I mean, there's not many guys in that lineup where you're like, oh fuck, the rally's over.
Yandy for sure. It's that guy.
Yeah, like you don't look. But I'm saying like if you're rooting them on, if you're betting on them, you don't look at. It's very rare that you see one guy come up and you're like, fuck, there goes my rally. There goes my run line. There's almost every guy on that lineup you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like this.
Well, after Ohtani, I've been very.
You better come in hot, B.
I mean,
you better come in hot, B.
He loves Acuna.
I love Acuna. I've been saying that he's to me the second best player. Clearly,
I do stand by. I will say it again. If Ohtani didn't pitch, I think Acuna is the best in the league.
And then I will put Mookie behind.
Oh,
I've said it before. Mookie is one of those guys where genuinely,
bro, he's a fucking
when
winner.
I'm watching games, like when I was watching a lot of those Dodgers Giants games, especially back when we were actually competitive and it was like fun, there was just like a feeling deep in my gut. As soon as I saw on deck Mookie Betts, I was
Get this out.
please, no, don't get on base because he's gonna make something happen. And it's on both sides too. He's actually his cannon too. Like the amount of runs I've seen him save from the outfield.
Hey, actually, for Danny,
Jesus.
for you putting Tatis up there, that's actually facts because I think he has the most runs saved in baseball.
Which is crazy because
this is his first year playing outfield.
Yeah, he was terrible in
Go ahead.
defender, but
Can't play shortstop, but
yeah,
a dynamite right
Play
field.
outfield.
Fuck.
After Mookie, huh?
Yeah, so this is where I've been stuck.
There's a lot. I originally had Bo Bichette in my top 5. I dropped him out.
I have to put Freddie in there.
Freddie has to be.
Yeah.
I love Freddie. He's so good. So good. I think the consistency, reliability on both sides of the ball. Like again, not many guys I'd want playing on my team over him. So I think I have to stick him there. Those are two guys that you just circled around that I've been thinking about. And
I had Corey Seager in there too.
Corey is one of those guys. I think offensively, he's so good. I think defensively, he's average. He's definitely not a bad defender. He's just nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's just is he top 5? Probably not. It's probably just outside there, maybe like the 7 range. Trout is another one that's hard. Like Trout, he's so good. And I have to put him in there. I have to.
Oh wow. Okay.
Even that, and I'm using this. This one's he's getting a little bit of the consistency treatment. Same kind of with Freddie.
No, Freddie deserves it.
But he's having a down year and he gets hurt a lot. But like when he's
the thing is his down years are people's great years.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot
really
of
being honest.
This is also like his first down year in forever.
Yeah, if you take his name off of his stats this year,
you're like, oh,
you're happy with him and your team. When you realize it's Mike Trout, you're like, wow, he's having a down year. But no, he has to be in there. Even though he is having a down year, he's just so good, man. Again, another guy. Just, I wish that man didn't have his career wasted. It'd be so much fun.
You never know.
Hey, we had some spicy lists, man.
Yeah, and then after him, that would be what? This was my last spot.
Yeah.
I am gonna go.
You almost have the same list as Danny.
I'm close. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
That's a good pick.
JP Davis.
No, I'm biased.
Patrick Bailey.
I'm biased, but I'm not crazy. Yeah.
Blake Sable.
God no. He can hit the ball at the park though. Fuck, man. I think
Lavonte Wade.
Oh, come on.
I think I'm gonna go
Just pick.
with probably Jordan. Because I think the impact on the team is so noticeable. Like obviously when Altuve came back, they went on that run and they were able to sustain.
And you were thinking like, oh, maybe it's Altuve they were missing.
They were able to sustain a little bit, and then but it's just
then Jordan leaves, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it was actually.
And it's like you essentially like, yes, he's one of the best home run hitters in baseball. But to me, the timely hitting for him is something that, like, when it's runners in scoring position or the big moments, I always feel like he's showing up.
He's insane.
It's just, yeah.
I actually feel like I did him an injustice.
Yeah. There's just so many good baseball players.
I was gonna say, I was
think
looking
pitchers-
down. I was looking at like Nolan Arenado is another
Yeah.
one for me, who's really.
I mean,
good
I
for
didn't even
them.
say Luis.
I also think at this point
yeah.
in time, Corbin Carroll for me is
Yeah.
fucking
There's a
unbelievable.
There's a lot right now.
Yeah, and then we didn't even talk pitching.
I didn't think there was a pitcher at this point in the year that deserved to be top
Yeah,
five
if Strider didn't have that patch
outside of
I
Ohtani.
think if Strider didn't have that patch of like 4 or 5 starts when he was getting kind of knocked around.
I think it was only like 3.
Even there was games where he kept the runs low, but he was still getting hit a lot. I think maybe he's probably one of the guys I think could have a case. Garrett Cole as well.
Garrett Cole for me.
But that's about
Shane
it.
McClanahan.
Yeah.
A couple of consistent seasons. Framber Valdez as well. But again, I don't think they're
Framber's
top 5 players in the league.
Yeah. No.
Like you got to be Kershaw, middle of his career.
Yeah, prime
to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Prime Timmy.
Verlander last year was borderline top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good though, dude.
Yeah,
I like the difference in lists.
Yeah.
it is actually really hard. Like the more I got into it, the harder.
I had about a pool of 8 guys.
Yeah.
And I had a few guys in there that I left out.
And the thing with baseball too is that a streak can mean so much. So
That's why I tried to stay with like consistency.
Yeah, and that's why Trout made my list.
Okay,
As
but
opposed to
Trout for me is like 7, 8 right now. Maybe even a little lower. I don't know. There's a lot of guys. I would honestly, I'd pick like the whole Braves or Rangers lineup. Like I said,
over him.
yeah, motherfucker, what you talking about?
Just the health aside. God damn.
They're insane. All right, Danny, run us out, man.
Hey, but that was a good episode back. Again, short, sweet. For you guys that are listening, again, thank you all again for the support. We took a couple of weeks off, but we're back. We'll be posting on the socials. This will be going up on YouTube for you all as well. So then that way you guys can see our live reaction. If you guys are not just listening to it on your phone or anything like that. But yeah, be on the lookout again for our videos. Follow us on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube page at We Got Action Podcast. Yeah, that's about it. Have a great rest of the week. And then we'll see you guys next week for episode 55.
Back to back, baby.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week. But yeah, have a great rest of the week, everybody. And we will see you all soon.
Later.
Stop.